About the latest increase of crime of carjackings, vandalized cars, and stolen vehicles. Make sure you park near a well lit area. That's the first thing. Observe the activity where you shop at. That means when you go to an ATM, if you go to a grocery store, if you go to a shopping mall, or if you go to a restaurant. Pay attention to what's actually going on around you. For one reason, when you start to pay attention to these types of things, you can ask for a security guard, store employee, or you can call the police and say, I feel a little uncomfortable, because you may be setting yourself up to be isolated. And if you're isolated, that's when criminals tend to target a person who's isolated or by themselves. And make sure you have your keys with you. Make sure you have your keys where you can get access to your vehicle, so you can get right in and unlock the car and get in the car and go. And the other thing is this: don't be afraid of criminals. Most criminals are just as scared and intimidated as anybody else. So if you are caught off guard, and I happen to be a person who was a victim of armed robbery, attempted armed robbery back in 1994. The man gave me a good tussle and I screamed at the top of my lungs, and everybody was looking at me like I was crazy. But yet instead I did what I was supposed to do and fought the guy off. He had a gun. It looked like a pistol, but I couldn't say whether it was a real pistol or whether it was a fake gun. But whatever the case, the man did pull a gun on me. He pulled a gun on me, but I didn't know whether that gun was loaded or whether it was real. So I grabbed that opposite hand that which he had the gun in. So when I grabbed the gun that had the hand that had the gun in it, he was still hitting me in my face, but I got shook up pretty good. But again, what happened was that's when my reflexes and my adrenaline kicked in. And I will say this: that can happen if you feel like that. If you've ever had an attempted crime happen to you, or you feel like you were targeted like I was, because the man looked right at me, and on Buckeye Road, that's now a Huntington Bank. No, it's now in Huntington Bank, but years ago it used to be a check cashing place. So this was in 1994. So things were getting pretty bitty bad then, and they're getting way worse now. So what I'm telling you is this: pay more than enough attention. If your gut tells you, then get a hold of a store employee, or just get your phone, dial 911, contact the police officer, ask an officer to come by, or if there's a police officer in the area. If not, ask a store employee or a security guard to walk you to your vehicle, so that way you won't be so isolated or targeted because you're by yourself. Even if you are with somebody else, you can still be targeted. Your car can still be vandalized. And that doesn't mean a criminal is not going to pull a gun or pull a knife or try to threaten you or stalk you. Most time they're just randomly preying on people, and that's unfortunate. It's the same thing with home invasions. When people try to attempt to break into your house, or they have broken your house, or they vandalize your vehicle, they will come in your house if they have to. They will come in your driveway to get a hold of that car if they feel they can get it. So the point is, you got to be attentive and be alert. Don't be walking around here distracting stuff, because if you're distracted and you're carrying a lot of stuff and you're not paying attention, that's exactly what the criminals are looking for. And when these criminals see that, that means they're going to target somebody. You just want to make sure that you're not the one to be targeted. And if you have to, here's another trick that people don't like. If you have what I call, it's a tactic to bluff your way, act a little crazy. You know what it means to act a little crazy? To act a little crazy means that even if nothing has happened, like some people, they talk to themselves. Excuse me. Some people, they talk to themselves. So when people talk to themselves, what happens? People think you're crazy. So if a criminal or a suspected carjacking or armed robber or a criminal tries to prey on you and you start doing that, you're probably lessening your chances of the person trying to even target you in the first place. So don't be afraid of these criminals, and don't let this stuff get to you. You just got to be more attentive, pay more attention. If you don't feel safe, just don't go to that particular area where you normally shop. Go to an area where there's activity and cars and people coming to and from. And if something doesn't look right, as I said, contact the police, or contact a school, because they have security guards there, and also look to see if there's a police officer or, something like that, because that's how you prevent yourself from getting targeted, and that's how you prevent yourself from being too fearful, because we all have that sense of fear. Like I said, I was the victim of armed robbery, and I fought the attacker off, and it still strikes in my mind now, because you just don't forget stuff like that. You never forget that. And to this day, even though I fought the man off, but I wouldn't recommend it unless, like I said, with me, my reflexes kicked in. When my reflexes kicked in, my adrenaline kicked in, and I got a good tussle out of the man. He hit me, he physically assaulted me, but he didn't get my money, and he didn't shoot me because I grabbed a hand and I was yelling at the top of my lungs, and everybody was looking at me like I was crazy.